Hey, this is Cameron. Welcome back to the Busy Gardener channel. Today we are going to be looking at my 3-in-1 mandarin planting, talking through some of the differences there. Let's get busy. Well, I remember when I was first getting into backyard orchard culture and planning out my orchard here, I was looking online and looking for as much information as I could, and there wasn't a ton of information about close planting citrus. You already know about planting, 3 trees to a hole with like Dave Wilson nursery style backyard orchard culture. So like 3-in-1 nectarines or 3-in-1 plums. But what in the world happens when you do 3-in-1 citrus? And it seemed like the only people that I heard from or saw were saying that it didn't really work that well. And so I kind of approached this as a little bit of an experiment and doing like a lot of 2-in-1s. But my mandarins here were actually planted in a 3-in-1 configuration where 3 mandarins are planted and they all are geared towards successive ripening, meaning that they all ripen at different times of the year. So when one tree is done, it's going to move on to the next tree. So I think that like my Satsuma, as you can see here, my Satsuma mandarin are already colored up. They're coming ripe. These are going to be for the next few months. Next, I think, is going to be, I can't remember if honey comes next or gold nugget comes next, but the 3 that I have in this planting are Satsuma mandarin, gold nugget back there, and honey. And we're going to take a closer look at each of these so you can see what the kind of character of the fruit is, and I'll describe some of it so you know what you're looking for. So these Satsuma mandarin are what you often will find at the store. They're a very popular commercial variety, and these you'll oftentimes find snipped with a few leaves still attached. So sometimes you'll go and you'll find part of the stem or part of some leaves attached to that. And a main reason that I'm finding is that one that is largely ripe, if you just come on and pick it, oftentimes, and it didn't do it in this case, of course, but it's easy for the stem to rip off a bunch of the rind. And so when they're cutting these, usually they'll come and snip and leave some of the stem and leaves on. The Satsuma mandarin is really tasty, largely seedless, and it's available really early. This in our orchard is the very first citrus, like eating citrus, that is available and ripe. Obviously, we've got our lemons and lime and things that give at different times, but as far as just fruit that you take and eat, our Satsuma mandarin is the first one, and this is loaded this year. I don't know if we got enough water or if we fed it plenty. I upped the amount of fertilizer, including the amount of nitrogen that these citrus are getting. So you see the beautiful foliage is this nice, deep, dark green. So I don't see any deficiencies there. Very excited about that. The next one over here, which ripens, I believe, immediately after the Satsuma, is the gold nugget. So Satsuma starts in November and I think goes till maybe about March or so. Our gold nugget, which this year has loads and loads of fruit on it. Look at this. This last year didn't have a ton of fruit. I kind of got into a bit of a biennial fruiting situation, but this has been, size-wise, our most vigorous tree in our 3-in-1 planting. I don't know if you can get a scale for the size here, but it has taken over, not taken over, but it's making up a large bulk of this tree. Now, truth be told, the gold nugget mandarin is my favorite of these 3 in terms of taste. If you get a gold nugget that's still a little early, it doesn't taste that great, but if you just give it a chance to ripen on the tree, you get an incredible piece of fruit that is hard to beat. Look at it all over here. All of this fruit. The funny thing about citrus, which is really deceptive, is at first, when it's green like this, it's hard to tell how much fruit you have on the tree. But if you look through there, you see how many, just even from here, you can spot those Satsumas back there. I can already see tons and tons of fruit on this gold nugget. And so I know that as this colors up, I'm gonna be shocked at how much fruit is on this tree. All right, and this little guy, that brings us to this 3rd one. That is honey mandarin. And these guys, compared to the Satsuma, you'll get an idea for size, scale. These are a lot smaller, at least in our setting. And these, they look green right now, so they don't look very appetizing, but the truth is that as these ripen up, these end up being very, very flavorful, very tasty. I don't know that they've necessarily been a favorite. We've had some issues with splitting fruit, although it doesn't seem to be an issue this year. I don't see much split fruit on here, thankfully. But in years past, I think I've been the least enthusiastic about honey, just because when you pick a mandarin, you want to open it up, you want to be able to enjoy one. In this one, you almost have to eat 3 to equal the same amount of fruit as a single Satsuma. But I love the idea that this is all successively ripening and that these end up being such an amazing option just to extend our season. You'll notice here in the space of a single tree, we've got 3 gorgeous citrus trees, 3 gorgeous mandarins that all are giving fruit at different times. They have different flavors. You're not getting sick of one, because just by the time you are sick of one, you got another one coming on. And these are going to grow to an eventual height of maybe 12 feet or so. I may keep them a little bit shorter just because I made the mistake of planting those southward of our stone fruit, and I want to make sure I'm not impeding any of the sunlight on those. But I am so happy with this 3-in-1 mandarin planting. I think maybe the only months that we don't have mandarins from this planting is maybe from August through November, which isn't that bad. Maybe it's even later than that. I don't remember exactly. But very happy about that 3-in-1 planting. So if you're wondering if you can plant citrus in a multi-planting setting, take a look at this thing. This is 5 years in the ground. It's doing awesome, and I encourage you to try it. We're gonna try some of my Satsuma mandarin. Seedless. Juicy, so juicy. Nothing dry about this, nothing mealy about it. Picked fresh. This thing is just bursting with aroma and flavor. It'll be amazing to see what another week or 2 on the tree will do for these things. Wow, what a treat. Hey, what questions do you have? Do you wonder about anything here in this planting? How do we keep it pruned? How do we keep it fed? How do we keep it watered? Let me know. I'd love to answer those questions for you, shed some light on it. If you're not yet subscribed to the Busy Gardener channel, why don't you take a second right now? I'll keep talking. This is the time to do it. Hit it if you feel like I've earned it. If not, that's okay too. I would love for you to like and share this thing as well. But hey, sure love connecting with you on here. And if you haven't visited thebusygardener.com yet, I'd love for you to do that. It just recently launched. We've got some merch on there. We've got a number of articles on there as well, which are helpful, and new content is being added to that all the time. So hey, whether you've got 1 ripe citrus on your tree or 500, until next time, stay busy.